This is a quick introduction to sentencing guidelines for iPad. The application displays a list by default, a list of offences from the Magistrates Court sentencing guidelines, and these are displayed by default as an A to Z listing of those guidelines. As we scroll through that list of offences, you can see the coloured swatch changes indicating their different grouping within the MCSG. We can change the sorting of these offences to also view by page, group and Act of Parliament. So selecting group will allow me to jump down to drug section, LASPO, and obviously down into the pinks for the motoring offences. Selecting a star against an offence, either from the offence index or from the offence viewer, will place that offence into your list of favourites. We have a list of favourites for the various sections within the application. So far we've just made favourite offences. If we moved on to perhaps a court bench book, if I need to reference a residence requirement, perhaps supervision, those favourites now appear upon their explanatory section, their bench book section. So the same principle applies to the rest of these favourites. If we move to a pronouncement, we can select any of the pronouncement cards included, and if we consider a discharge conditional, favourites will then display this upon the pronouncement. Locating an offence or some information inside the application, just clicking into the search area allows us to simply type in a search term. We have promoted to the top of that list of offences, but we also have CPS legal guidance. So knives, see offensive weapons. That's a reference within the CPS section of the application. We can also add in our own documents into the application. So, for example, a reference to do with freemen on the land. We also have a list of courts in the England and Wales area, so we can look at, for example, a court in Warwickshire. We have their opening details, and optionally we can view their location on map. We have a history of offences that we've viewed, so we can always get back to something we've looked at. We also have the ability to get updates with an annual subscription from any of the updates required for Magistrate Court sentencing guidelines, additional guidelines, bench books, or pronouncement cards. And just moving into the bottom toolbar options, we have a set of comprehensive tools for managing the court with fines calculator, speeding grid, excess alcohol and excess alcohol in charge, disqualification dates for drink driver disqualification with reduced disqualification for completion of course, overweight vehicles, some checklist information, directions to defence advocate and prosecution advocate, and some bail decision information as well. And just finishing off the other tools, we have a list of adjournment dates. So we give you community order dates and adjournment through to 24 weeks adjournment. That was a quick introduction to sentencing guidelines for iPad.